One of the worst crashes in recent Grand Tour history. An extraordinary finale. Jonas Vingegaard on the move. All the other favourites somehow involved. And in the end, an unexpected and historic victory for Uruguay ex-DS Astana and Thomas Silva. Hello again and welcome to, the third episode, but for the second stage of For the Love of Cycling. Jacopo Guarnieri has joined me once again to try and unpick what was, I don't even know where to begin. Just one of those days at a Grand Tour that you struggle to comprehend. So much to talk about, in some ways so little to talk about, but in the end, an extraordinary finale. The second longest stage of the entire Giro d'Italia. And a really formulaic start with two riders going up the road and attacking. An amazing race to unpick, though. But Jacopo and I mean, we've just done one of the longest commentary shifts. Oh, I'm going to take my glasses off now because my eyes are that tired that I think we've ever done. You and I commentate on Milan-San Remo every year, which is the longest race of the year.
Felt quicker,
didn't it?
Yeah. Today was... we were kind of, because we had also the neutral, and we were speculating, kind of hoping more than speculating that a big battle for the breakaway because, pink jersey up for grab as well. Nothing happened. Yeah. Just two riders off the front and peloton was super slow. Breakaway as well. Really, there was nothing for 4 hours and a half, 5 hours even. Possibly.
Yeah, well, hey, that's cycling. That's what cycling does from time to time.
I mean, if you have the same finale after 100 kilometers, it would be a completely different race, no? Like, you need to have this long stage on your legs in order to be explosive.
Yeah. Jacopo, it's called deferred gratification. Have you ever heard that term before in English?
No, but I will...
It's like, you've got kids, so you've got a daughter. Yeah. When Christmas comes around and presumably she gets presents because you're a nice man and you're a father, right?
You're still putting a doubt in there.
Well, I'm just checking. You give her a Christmas present, yeah. Do you let her just get out of bed and open the present straight away? Or do you say, calm, here's your present, you open it in a little while?
Well, no, however she was, I don't mind.
You're just a pushover then?
Yeah, okay. Just give it to her. Like, she cannot stay, like, I wanted to open it. Okay, do it.
Deferred gratification is when you wait for something to happen. When it happens, it's that much more exciting.
Okay.
Kind of, I'm trying to justify the way the race played out today, but I don't know if it's making sense. Just to set the context, though, a little bit as to where we are. We travelled from last year, felt like last year, yesterday's finish line in Burgas on the coast, the Black Sea coast, last night, arrived very late, deep in the Carpathian Mountains.
We did the parkour, basically, off today's stage.
Which was long. And when we woke in the morning, I don't know if you sort of looked out of your window,
I did.
And from the breakfast room, beautiful valley, wooded hillsides. This is like the spiritual heart of Bulgaria, isn't it? The finish line today, the town where the race finished, is a site of massive importance in Bulgarian sort of sense of national identity.
It was amazing. It looked like a mini Great Wall of China, like this castle and the sea,
at the top of the hill,
the fort and the walls. Everything was very beautiful. I didn't know if it was noticed, if it was much on the camera, but it was nice. I had a walk and it felt completely different town. I mean, I was going to a very posh and hipster cafe, having this cold brew and this sort of things, and I told you, like, even the people dressed differently. They were all wearing, hiking shoes with the baggy pants and the tote bag. So completely different. It felt like we've been in a modern city all of a sudden. Well, in Burgas, it was not the case. So completely different people, young people. I experienced also, I had to cross the road a couple of times while there was some traditional dancing.
Oh, that's beautiful. Lots of kids. It was raining, wasn't it? And before the race got underway, they did a traditional dance.
200 or 300 people dancing in circles. And
it was lovely.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was very nice.
Yeah.
But then the race started, and then there is this blank 5 hours of ours, so we can skip that, no?
Well, I mean, so...
no, hands off to who did the attack anyway.
Why not? I mean, he did exactly the right thing. He was yesterday's attacker as well, Diego Sevilla, who's a strong rider, let's face it. He's had a super start to the Giro d'Italia, took his opportunity, and Mirko Maestri, his teammate, went with him. And of course, Mirko Maestri, for those of you who remember the famous Julian Alaphilippe victory a couple of years ago at the Giro d'Italia, was the rider who helped Alaphilippe, not a teammate, actually achieve that breakaway victory. He's just solid, isn't he? He's incredible endurance. and he was the perfect rider to go with those two teammates, Diego Sevilla. Their objective was to get to primarily the two categorized climbs in the middle of the race today. But to get there, they had to ride for 100 kilometers before they even got there. And they were slow today. Because the peloton were happy that just those two riders were off the front, the peloton slowed down, which meant that Maestri and Sevilla could slow down. So the first couple of hours, 37, 38 kilometers an hour, which in this day and age is almost unheard of at World Tour level. Very, very rare you have a race that slow.
Yeah. But it was fun because if we skip till the end when Sevilla did the interview, he said on the camera, he said, me and in the team, we discussed if he asked Maestri, if you see that nobody followed me, please come with me. I don't want to go, so I cannot go solo. Yes. Come with me, please. And that's why Maestri was a few seconds off. He took off peloton and to rejoin at the front Sevilla. So hats off to Maestri because he could have said the classic. I didn't see that. Sorry, I was at the background. He did, and they were together and gladly there was something going on. Not much for us to commentate on, but that's part of the race as well.
It is part of the race. Meanwhile, behind, we weren't entirely sure which team we were going to expect to take control because someone eventually has to take control. That's the law. Otherwise, the breakaway goes all the way to the line. Someone has to start riding. We thought, well, will it be Soudal Quickstep? Will they realistically try and defend that jersey and honour it? No. They just conceded straight away. They didn't get involved. We thought maybe it'll be UAE because they've got so many riders who can win the stage. And they are the big team, right? So maybe they'll take control. No. Instead, it was slightly surprisingly, it was Team NSN and it was one rider.
Yeah, it was the mighty Irishman, Ryan Mullen, who... Yeah, he rode exactly the same amount as the two riders up front. And it was one man against the other two. And that was the situation for many hours, Ryan Mullen pulling at the front of the peloton and the two riders from Pole to Visit Malta in the breakaway, Sevilla and Maestri.
Sevilla took the two climbs.
Yeah, obviously, and was granted also the intermediate sprint. So he had a massive step up in both intermediate sprint classification, KOM classification, kilometers of breakaway classification.
Yep.
Close to the Red Bull kilometer, they were about to be caught. They've been caught.
Yep.
And then disaster happened.
And then it was disastrous, wasn't it?
Yeah,
off and on, throughout the day, the race got wetter and wetter. At the finish line, it was raining up in the hills, kind of off and on all day. Weirdly, it dried out towards the very end. But the race at times was torrential. And the closer it got to the finish, after such a becalmed opening, the faster it was going to get. It was always going to get fast at that point. And on a descent... the camera from behind barely caught it. We later saw a replay from the front of the peloton where you could see just how violent it was. But it all happened on the left-hand side of the peloton where UAE, led by Mikel Bier, had taken up residency on the left-hand side of the peloton, the right-hand side of the picture, with Picnic Postenel Raisin, as they are known, the next team on the left. And they just wiped out, didn't they? One rider, we think it was Marc Soler.
Yeah, it was a tall figure, so we think it was Marc Soler.
Was the first to lose traction.
Basically all UAE were on the ground except for Bjerg and then Christian, which was Jan. Sorry, not Jens. He was later on up the front. But the whole team was on the ground. NSM team was all on the ground. They were on the left side as well, and they were all on the ground after being working with Ryan Mullen the whole day. DSM. Somiev, Vendrame.
DSM.
Again, yeah, that's my bad. I'm really tired today. I will do a lot of mistakes. So
Jacopo.
My English people are going to forgive me today.
I love it. Everybody refers to them as DSM.
For me, Jacopo, I really have to concentrate because for me, it's still Orica.
Orica.
Or Green Edge. Okay. I was calling them Green Edge for so many years.
Brilliant. Well done, you. But it was horrible to see, wasn't it? And then we had the horrible sight of, I think, two riders in particular appeared to be very badly injured. One was Jay Vine, and as we record this podcast, we have no further information about what
he was awakened. He was awakened.
He was awake, but he was stretchered off into the back of an ambulance after some consultation at the side of the road. And then a stunned-looking Andrea Vendrame from Jacopo was just sitting on the barriers at the side of the road, waiting, I think, for a concussion protocol to be done. And he very gingerly remounted it and got back into the race. And I think he completed, didn't he?
He did.
So as far as we know, 3 riders didn't finish.
Yeah, Marc Soler, Jay Vine and Holter, if I'm not mistaken,
Odne
from
Holter.
Iono X. And Remy Cavagna seemed like he got a broken collarbone, but he restarted and finished. Adam Yates, it looked like he went with a face in a ditch because he was covered in mud and blood. Looked nasty, really nasty. He finished. I think like tomorrow we're going to count, how many.
There might be a few non-starters tomorrow, and let's hope Adam Yates isn't among them. I mean, just from a sporting perspective, UAE Team Emirates now, if they had any general classification ambitions, which we're not really sure before this race, they haven't. That's gone.
It's,
Marc Soler's off the race. Jay Vine's off the race.
Jan Christen.
Possibly. Whether or not he can survive the big mountains, it remains to be seen. But he wasn't one of their GC favourites.
No.
No.
And but yeah, for hard, the bricks are hard. Like seeing so many riders on the ground, especially on such a high speed. I mean, it was horrible, really horrible. Gladly, everybody was standing. So we assume that more or less we haven't seen Soler. He retired today. He didn't have the stage, but seems like everybody was awake, and that's what scared the people most. I mean, bones can be fixed. There's always something to take away. Try to see on a positive side if you can.
Only in cycling.
Yeah, no, but
only in cycling, bones can be fixed. It's true. You're right. I mean,
it was really nasty. If you see riders falling into a barrier on the side of the road, you always care for the worst. So I think we can get away still okay.
But the random twist of fortune and fate in a bike race is one thing that you can't regulate. I mean, it happened to be a right-handed bend where the left-hand side of the race slipped out. If it had been the other way round and the right hand of the race had slipped out with a touch of the wheels or something just at the front, that would have been Ineos gone.
Yeah.
Company Ineos were in exactly the same position on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
And they survived with no riders going down entirely intact.
It was, I think, a very lucky rider was Vingegaard because he had a couple of teammates on the ground with Kelderman. Notably, he was, with his butt on the air, he finished as well the race, but he left, this crash, he was not involved. But as you said, it's just a matter of second. And I think also because they were coming from a dry part of the road and probably they were a little bit too fast into this corner. And, it's just a matter of touching a brake or just one guy, because it was Soler, was already at the front and he lost the back wheel. You see him sliding and then, he touched the brake in a corner, on a wet corner. Yeah. Disaster.
The race was briefly and quite appropriately neutralised while they'd run out of ambulances and all the doctors were occupied with riders. And when eventually those riders were treated, I have to say they were treated very quickly.
Yeah.
I heard on race radio, they were just checking, there is an ambulance at the back. Okay, we can relaunch. And then they never actually brought the race to a complete standstill, but with about 2 or 3K to go before the Red Bull kilometre, it all kicked off again. They started to race again. And what happened? It was Net Company Ineos, wasn't it, who took all the bonus seconds?
Yeah, well, the only one eager to do so. It seems like it was kind of a silent agreement with everybody, but then Bernal emerged and got the second.
And Aronsman in second place as well. Yeah,
Didn't count much. I mean, they got distance, but at the end they were all together. I mean, I don't want to rush things, but
no,
it was not the shifting the balance of the GC for the moment. But they took the bonuses, and then it was about time for the climb. And it was a bit messy at first, we didn't know. The first one to open up was Scaroni. Ballerini and laid out almost Scaroni. Scaroni, the first one to go.
Martin Marcellucci getting involved as well. Yeah. But then Bardiani didn't last long.
No.
But I love a Marcellucci attack.
Yeah, it was good.
But then order was restored where Bart Lemon got on the front and did most of the climb right towards well inside the last kilometre where Jonas launched for the first time in this Giro. Very short climb. It's not a high mountain, just a little climb. Didn't really make the difference if that was what he intended, because 2 riders were able to go with him, Giulio Pellizzari and Lennart van Eetveld.
Not surprisingly. Very good from the young Belgian rider. So this was the trio at the top.
Yep.
They did the descent and it seemed like there was not really big collaboration behind. No, it seemed like everybody was jumping left and right, tried to rejoin the trio.
Jepsen tried to get across.
Yeah, there was not really a collaboration, despite the group was quite large. It was roughly 25, 30 riders.
And getting bigger all the time. Yeah. Riders like Felix Gall were getting back on.
Yeah. And so there was this little descent, a little bit tricky. So he said, it's over. Then they started the climb, still a good collaboration of the trio. And then all of a sudden, when the climb was almost over 1.2 kilometer, everything changed. All of a sudden, you see appears Christians from the behind and the whole peloton. So once Christians reached them, You want to go on? Like we were 1 kilometer to go, and then you think, okay, this is going to be the sprint. 4 guys are going to sprint out.
Yep.
And then they stop as well.
Yeah.
And behind Harrisman, he was brave enough to close the gap. And at the last corner with 500 meters, all together back again.
I know. I couldn't believe the size of the bunch. We thought we were going to have a sprint à trois. But in the end, 35 riders, 40 riders?
Yeah, it was a big one. And there was a moment where after the corner, was a slight descent and then a long drag, not very hard.
Yeah.
So we were coming with a lot of speed. Scaroni opens up like a massive sprint with 400 meters to go with Silva on a wheel.
Thomas Silva, yeah, the Uruguayan.
It's historical, eh?
Absolutely. With hindsight, I shouldn't have been surprised. I've just come from a couple of weeks ago. I was in China commentating on my own in the Tour of Hainan that he won. He won the overall, took 2 stages
Yeah.
at a much lower level, but he's obviously in great form. But yeah, that was a
massive sprint.
A massive sprint.
He got the best of Florian Stork.
Yeah.
Ciccone with a good sprint as well.
Yeah.
Scaroni finished 4th. I think he will have sprinted for himself. I don't know. So very loyal from him, from the Italian. And then Maglia Rosa, Maglia Bianca.
Yep.
And victory for Astana.
XT Astana. So another debutant at the Giro after Paul Magnier gets his first ever stage win at the Giro and takes over the race lead. And that is Thomas Silva. Stage 3 then. It's a 2-star stage. It's 175 kilometres in length. An expected bunch sprint in Sofia, where we're going to end up this evening. And I'm really hoping to be reunited with my luggage.
Because we have to say, like, this won't be the set. Like, Ned, he was brave enough to fly from Benin to Brussels, from Brussels to Amsterdam,
Correct.
and from Amsterdam to Sofia, thinking his luggage will have made it through.
The chances of Cotonou, Brussels, Amsterdam, Sofia.
That was a very rookie mistake.
But I've been chasing my luggage ever since, and there's beginning to be a bit of a slight whiff about my clothing, which you're very polite. You haven't commented.
I left the door open all day today. You haven't noticed.
But there is a 50% chance at best that my luggage is waiting for me in Sofia, and if not, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and tomorrow we're going to change sets, so the background is going to be our commentary booth.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll
see.
You like it here?
Yeah, I quite like it. It's quite cozy. It's quite cozy. All right, just a quick thank you here. I'm just going to read off the screen for everyone who's been sending in their support for the show. Andrew says, great work from Ned and the team. That's you. You're the team.
I'm the team.
You're
Wow.
the team. Looking forward to the next 3 weeks. Ellen says, that's me sorted for the next 3 weeks. Thanks, guys. You're smashing it. That's very kind. Really enjoyed this between Ned and Jacopo. Keep it up. And shout out also to Tim, Alistair, Nick, Wayne, Thomas for your kind words as well. And loads more besides. All right, we've got another huge transfer to do out of the mountains, out of the Carpathian Mountains, away from this amazing seat of the heartland of the Second Bulgarian Empire that was founded in the 12th century and endured right up until the Ottoman Empire crushed it in the early 15th century. But that's a lesson that we can talk about in more depth tomorrow, because our journey in Bulgaria comes to an end tomorrow, sadly. But join us again for the love of cycling. That was it for stage 2. Tomorrow's stage 3. Do you know what? That's how it works. 3 comes after 2. It's as simple as that. I've run out of words. Ciao.
Ciao.